Trouble can brew in any city, any borough, any town, or any district. But throughout the years, when you think of the most dangerous or hazardous places, South East London is always at the top of the list. More specifically, Peckham. The South East London district, which has a population of roughly 70,000 people, has been cemented for its generational gang ties, violent crimes, drug trades, and warring with other sets, where sadly lives have been lost, i.e. Peckham Boys vs Ghetto Boys. UK rappers like CS, Tiny Boost, Snap Capone, and Giggs have all mentioned Peckham in their songs. The fact that people class Peckham as such a disgusting and disease-ridden place makes no odds to the people who are actually from there, from the people who are actually raised in that environment. With no help, these artists have managed to champion themselves from a nobody to a somebody, and it's all in part thanks to being born and raised in Peckham. It's survival. Now, it's often said that people from Peckham have this Vietnam mentality, and they are a special breed, hence the name Peckham. Now, when people think of Peckham nowadays, they think of the redevelopment, Royal Lane, the Prince of Peckham pub co-owned by G Fresh, Vibrant Colours, and Zone 2. However, before Zone 2 and the popularisation of UK drill rap, there was serious bloodshed in the South East London district. The Peckham Boys were at the heart of that chaos. Much of the inner city youth had no guidance. They were failed by their family, their mum and their dads, and the education system and the policing. Children were left to be raised by the streets, and in turn, younger children looked up to the older kids that seemed to have money for food and clothes. Now, when you have no guidance, we are primitive by nature. There's no diplomacy, there's no talking, there's no conversation. All these wayward children knew was survival. Take. Take off a man, take off a woman, and take off other teenagers. And when one person takes, there's always going to be a loser, a victim. And the crap left mums and dads mourning their children every time retaliation was made. Now, a large area of Peckham was dominated by large council estates. North Peckham Estate, Gloucester Grove Estate, Willowbrook Estate, Camden Estate, and Sumner Estate. And in the 90s, the individual gangs that defiled Peckham banded together. They were the Firehouse Crew, the younger Peckham Boys, also known as Peckham and Soldiers. Other Peckham groups included Yardie Sets, the Sunrise Crew, and the Spanglers. Collectively, these groups came together and formed the Peckham Boys. Now, prominent members of the Peckham Boys were of course Giggs and Raver. Snap Capone was also part of the group too. Now, the reputation of the Peckham Boys meant that they ran their area with violence and threats. Most notably, the Chicago nightclub shooting. Now, back in July of 2000, there was a Jamaican sound clash set up in the Chicago's nightclub in Peckham, dubbed the Front Line. At 2:30 a.m, 9 people were shot after a gunman opened fire outside the club. Amongst the wounded was a 16-year-old girl. A man was also shot twice in the chest. 4 women were also shot. 1 woman was shot in the arm and the other woman was shot in the leg. And just 6 months later, a second shooting took place at the very same location. Now, Giggs made reference to the shooting in his 2007 Greasy's freestyle with the lines, "Don't think I'm coming here to rave if you see me, round the back, big strap inside Chicago's." Now, Demi Lola Taylor. Now, as I says, the Peckham Boys were gaining a reputation, but the crime that put the Peckham Boys on the map on the international stage was the sad death of 10-year-old Demi Lola Taylor. Now, Danny Pedri and his brother Ricky Pedri were only 12 and 13 years old at the time, and they were part of the younger Peckham Boys. They targeted 10-year-old Demi Lola Taylor, whom was on his way back from Computer Club. Now, CCTV footage showed that the night the 10-year-old died, which was November 27th, 2000, it showed him leaving the Peckham Library at 4:55 p.m. Now, Demi Lola looked happy as he skipped home with a smile on his face, actually stepping on paving stones. Just 15 minutes later, he was bleeding to death in a filthy stairwell. Now, the schoolboy was approaching the North Peckham estate when he was stabbed in the leg with a piece of broken glass. For no reason. He was part of retaliation that he had nothing to do with. This was a 10-year-old kid. After being stabbed, he made a run for it. He ran into the concrete stairwell where he collapsed and he was pronounced dead just 30 minutes later. Now, even to this day, Demi Lola Taylor has still not had the justice he deserves. 3 mistrials. Stay tuned for part 2.